Alright, what's up guys? The first thing I wanted to talk about in regards to communication is the key communication concept. You got comms, guide, play, you have to control your tone, you want to be concise, and you want to call numbers. So the first thing, what does it mean by comms, guide, play? Well, say you're fork on cash and your A main, your other A player peeks A main and dies and says two guys A main. Well, if they're back A main, you might have time to do a flash peek, underhanded flash, and swing on them. If they're close A main, you might want to just hug that corner by the forklift and let them run out. My point here is that when you die, you don't want to just say 1A, 1B, or even 1A main, even though that might sound more specific and right. You want to give a little context as fast and concise as you can. So that's the next point. You want to make sure you're saying 1A main coming out, 1A main in the back, 1A main holding, 1A main nading. Add that extra piece of information. Next up, controlling tone. If they're about to come out, raising in your voice, 1A main coming out, that makes sense. But if you're saying 1 in the back of A main, 1 in the back of A main, that doesn't really make as much sense, and it's harder for your teammate who's trying to understand what's happening to immediately discern. Now, obviously they're going to wait for your communication in the full sense of what you're saying to understand, but one way to let teammates know what's happening is to control your urgency. You want to say, hey, they're coming out A main, so now they know they're running out A main. But if you say 2A main, they're not going to think that they're running out naturally. Even if you finish your sentence and say 2A main, they're about to throw nades and come out. They at least know the pacing of what the other team's doing is in line with the tone of your voice. All right. The next up is be concise. No one when you die wants to hear, ah, shoot, man, there's one on the right side of A main, he might be pulling out a nade, I'm behind the box on the right side. You know, you don't want to hear all that stuff when you're trying to play. You're convoluting the voice comms, first of all. People might not be able to hear because of how much you're talking. And then two, you might just be confusing your teammates. So try to be as short and concise as possible. 1A main behind the box on the right holding nade out. Right? Get those comms out. It almost doesn't even sound like a proper grammatical sentence, but that's not the point here. You want to get the key communication words out and make sure your teammates are understanding the bare minimum of what they need to while being able to also hear footsteps themselves. Last but not least of the key communication concepts is calling numbers. Now say you're the B player on Inferno, let's use different maps for an example, and you start to see nades coming over and you're at the first oranges, you know, the close left boxes when the T's come in, that's what we call them as oranges. And you're sitting there listening, and you hear a bunch of people coming in. You could say it's at least 3, and you see smokes come over. Start counting smokes and footsteps, and be moderate with your guesstimate. If they don't see bomb on the radar, you don't want your big pit player to leave big pit first, because he's the last line of defense, and that might be a different topic of rotations, but that's a big part of it. If you say they're B, and then the big pit guy leaves, but then the bomb was actually coming out A apartments, and he kills that guy rotating, boom, they're planted, boom, they're in sight. But now, if you just say 1 in, 2, 3B for sure, 2 smokes B, at least now your team has painted a picture. They probably smoked off Coffin and Spawn, and there's probably at least 3 guys going to B. It's most likely a B hit, but at least your arch guy will be rotating, so you're going to have a necessary rotate to stop the hit, which is all you should expect. You shouldn't expect 5 guys on your team to be at B when they hit it. But now, worst case scenario, they did a 3B faked, and there was 3 there, but only 2 end up running in, and that third guy you did here stays at the car, he's throwing nades, and he's actually falling back to mid while the other 2 are coming out A apartments, and you just saved your team from losing a round, because now your big pip guy stays, and even if he goes 1 for 1 and the bomb coming out halls, you have another guy, Arch, who didn't leave because he didn't over-rotate due to your comms. So call numbers, count them off as they run in the bomb site. 1 in B, 2, 3, B, and if you can't talk, and you can't talk the whole time because you're shooting, just say 3B, no bomb. That alone is a big communication, right guys? So calling numbers is one of the most important things of holding a bomb site and can be one of the key aspects in just playing in general. The last couple of things we're going to go into in another video, which is bad habits. And I wanted to save that for a video on its own because there are a lot of bad habits. And that you could consider a key communication concept, but we'll save that for a separate video, guys. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one.